Well, don't look now, but the Stouffville Spirit are right back in the thick of the playoff race in the Northeast. More on that coming up in just a moment. This is the OJ Today. Hey folks, I'm Alex Bastiavansky. On today's program, we'll have a feature story on the Newmarket Hurricanes, and also newly hired Milton GM Chris Vanstone will join me here in the studio to discuss his plans to turn around a team that's, to put it kindly, had a rough go of things this year. That's coming up later on. But first, let's get to the Gong Show Gear Game highlights. And, you know, I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that in order to squeak into the playoffs, the Stouffville Spirit would need to go on a serious hot streak. Well, consider it done. The Spirit had reeled off 6 straight wins to propel themselves right back into the thick of the playoff hunt. And Newmarket was their latest victim last Monday. Game highlights brought to you, of course, by Gong Show Gear. Gong Show Gear, lifestyle hockey apparel, official sponsor of the Ontario Junior Hockey League. A Newmarket, since beating Trenton 2 weeks ago, had lost 3 straight when they faced the Spirit. It was family day, a great crowd out in Stouffville for the big game, and the home team gets things started. 7:18 in on the power play. Ryan De Silva floats one in from the point that beats Aiden Doak. 1-0 for the Spirit, but the Canes get it back on their own power play. 6 minutes later, Mark Rosanov finds daylight behind Aaron Taylor, and it's a 1-1 hockey game. And that's the way it stood after 20 minutes of play. And then just 1:48 into the second frame, Bozo gets sprung down the wing, wrists it past Taylor. Yeah, they were pumped. Hurricanes go up 2-1. Then a true rarity. You may not see this one again for some time. Canes on the power play. Jack Varga turned Oak for the shorthanded goal, 2-2. And then just 50 seconds later, Alex Williamson smokes it past the keeper. 2 shorthanded goals on the same Newmarket power play. Canes coach Brett Punchard was not impressed. And before the end of the period, Josh Argyle picks it out of the scramble, goes top shelf to make it 4-2 Spirit. Looking good heading into the dressing room, but in the third, the Hurricanes hit back. First, it's Nick Kalpuzis through the crowd, bulges the twine to cut the Stouffville lead to 4-3. And then just a minute later, Max Routledge to Owen Ramsey out front for the one-timer, and it's all knotted up at 4 apiece. And then it's Newmarket with their own short-headed marker, Routledge pounding home the friendly bounce off the boards. A little taunting of the crowd after. It turned out to be just a touch premature because 17 seconds later, Josh Argyle tips home the Papineau point shot. What an insane third period this was. All tied up at 5 after 60 minutes. So they were off to overtime. In the second OT, watch Nathan Hudgen go to work here. Yeah, those are huge points for the Spirit, who just a couple of weeks ago looked down and out, and they're right back in the playoff hunt now. The crowd of over 500 taking in one of the best games of the year so far. Well, last Saturday was the tail end of a home-and-home between Georgetown and North York. The Raiders had dropped the Rangers in a double OT thriller the previous weekend. So you know North York had revenge on its mind. 4-3, the Raiders had beaten the Rangers the previous weekend. This one wasn't nearly as close. 6:04 in, Tyler Curry gift wraps it for former teammate Ryan Takamatsu. 1-0 Raiders. 4 minutes later on the power play, Takamatsu burns his old team again with a gorgeous pass to Josh Dickinson, who makes no mistake. 2-0 Georgetown. 2 minutes later, watch this goal by Jack Jacome. Did you see that? Incredible. We'll slow it down for you a little bit here. Jacome flicks the puck over top of the net and then bats it out of the air for the amazing goal, one of the best of the season. So it's 3-0 Raiders at the break. North York starts to claw back. Louis Kiriakou throws it on goal, and it bounces past Andrew Masters. Deficit is cut to 3-1. Then it's Michael Morgan with the sweet solo effort, dancing through the Raiders, sliding it home. Suddenly it was a game, just 3-2 Raiders. In the third, though, G-Town puts this baby to bed. Andrew Court does all the heavy lifting here, with Josh Dickinson knocking home the puck past Gianluca Baguetta, and the Raiders regain their 2-goal cushion. And then it's Double J, Jack Jacome feeding Dickinson, who completes the Hattie. Big game for both Jacome and Dickinson on the day. So the Raiders knock off North York for the second straight time. A confidence booster for the young Georgetown team, who were able to handle the much more experienced Rangers. Okay, the Royals lead the Tigers for first in the North, but Aurora intends on making things interesting down the stretch. Markham drawing first blood. Aaron Spivak, the Hudson Michaelis on the power play. 1-0 Blues. And then with under a minute to play in the opening frame, Luka Kandata fires it past Josh Boyko to give Markham a 2-0 advantage. Aurora made it 2-1 in the second. We skip to the third now, where the Tigers knotted up. Daniel Mantenuto uses the members bounce off the boards to knock it home. And the Cats come back, and then it's Drake Board taking the feed, beating Marcus Samayo to put them up 3-2. That's how this one finished. So the Cats show great character rallying back from the deficit. They could still catch Markham for the first seed, but they'll need the Royals to go into a bit of a slide. Okay, and just a reminder that voting for the Fan Favorite Award has commenced. It's the 5th annual edition of the award. Head to ojhl.ca to cast your vote for your favorite OJ player. Last year, there were over 55,000 votes cast for over 200 players. So be sure to get online, pick your favorite player from the OJHL. Welcome back. For most of the season, Oakville has been top of the table in the South Division. The Blades have consistently beaten back challenges from both North York and the Junior Canadians, and they solidified their first place standing with another strong showing against the Rangers last Sunday. The Rangers had lost 3 straight, so they've slid a bit in the South Division standings. No scoring in the first period, so we head right to the second frame. North York breaks the ice. Nice passing here. Campoli to Ted Hunt to Keegan Blasby. Tic-tac-toe. Rangers up 1-0. A minute later, though, Blades on the PP. Tyler Rollo with the point shot. Josh Kosak tips it home, and it's 1-1. But then it's Campoli making things happen again as he feeds Chris Sekulik out front, and the Rangers go back up 2-1. The lead doesn't last. Christian Rajic feeds Daniel Jelic on the doorstep. Once again, tied up. It's 2-2. Third period was all Blades. First, it's Rollo going to work.
For North York, this one, center of the ice. Rollo on a breakaway. Tyler Rollo, he outscores! Off the back post and in.
And that made it 4-3 Blades, and then it's Ryan Garvey turning on the Jets, flying in. He beats Baguetta, and they pad their lead to 4-2. They would go on to add an empty netter. Final score, 5-2 Oakville. As mentioned, North York has now lost 3 straight, and they've slid to 6th in the Southwest. Hot on the heels, though, of the Junior Canadians. Mississauga picked up its first win since November 24th, the night before against the Pats, and they were looking for 2 in a row. 4:21 in, Lee Lapide surprises Tyler Richardson. 1-0 Patriots. Mid-frame, the Chargers hit back, though. Scott Doherty plays a little give and go before sliding it past Jacob Standen, and it's 1-1. 3 minutes later, though, Jake Harris and Jeremy Pilara work the 2-on-1. Pilara fires home the wrister. Patriots up 2-1. Second period, Toronto adds to the total. Tyler Richardson makes the initial stop here. Nobody picks up Purbu, and the Patriots pad their lead to 3-1. But then cue the comeback. Pats gave up a lot of 2-on-1s in this game. Acosta to Yeamans, top shelf, and the lead is cut to 3-2. And then it's Kevin Bray to Doherty, who ends up picking the same corner, his second of the contest, and they're all tied up at 3-3. Mississauga erasing a 2-goal deficit, so they needed OT to settle this one.
But Doherty collects it. Here's Scott Doherty. Back to Choma. He shoots. That one they score. And the Chargers win it in overtime on the power play.
And Mississauga, as mentioned, hadn't won since November 24th, get their second win in a row, both at the expense of the Patriots, who have now lost 3 straight games. Well, all the playoff teams in the Southwest have been decided, and now it's just a matter of jockeying for position. The 2 teams locked in a serious battle for the 7th seed are the Buzzers and Flyers, and just 3 points separated the squads as they squared off in Orangeville last Saturday. As it currently stands, the Flyers are the 8th seed in the Southwest with St. Mike's in the 7th spot. Orangeville gets things going in the first, just 2:24 in. Zach Lyons camping out in front of the net, banks home the rebound, 1-0 for the Flyers. In the second frame, it was all Orangeville. First on the power play, 2:40 in. Costa Nicorezus has all kinds of room, fires it past Mark Manilescu. Home squad leads 2-0, and they continue to add to it. Ryan Barboza hammers it home from the point. Looks like Manilescu was screened on the play, and the Flyers soar to a 3-0 lead. Then it's captain Derek Topatic going to work.
Bring it in over the blue line, and the Flyers will set up the power play. DeFarius. Topatic, oh, what a bullet! One-timer by the captain, Derek Topatic. What a beautiful pass by DeFarius, and then the captain, Derek Topatic, just absolutely rips one over top of Manilescu, top shelf.
A beauty. But then working on the shutout, the Flyers announcers jinx it.
13 seconds left. The Buzzers trying to spoil it. Far side. Oh my goodness, and they do it. Why did I talk? Why did I say anything? That's going to be number 24, Michael Anlauer beating Latinovich.
Stephen Carney of Orangeville does a great play-by-play. We had a little chuckle afterwards about him speaking just a little bit too soon there. Regardless, Orangeville picks up 2 huge points. Okay, let's take a look at the OJ standings and where teams currently sit in the playoff race. In the Northeast Conference, North Division, Markham, the only team that's clinched a berth so far. In the East, Trenton, Kingston, and Wellington have all clinched for the playoffs, with Trenton getting the number 1 seed. In the Southwest, South Division, Oakville, Toronto, North York, and St. Mike's have all clinched playoff berths. And in the West, Georgetown on top of Buffalo, with Burlington and Orangeville also having clinched a playoff berth. OJ trivia for this week. And your question is, which team were the regular season champions in the 2010-2011 OJHL season? So not the playoff chance, but which team had the most points in the regular season? You can win an OJHL prize pack. Just be sure to email iwestgate@theojhl.ca. First person with the correct answer wins the prize.
Zach Melifone, left wing, Kingston Voyagers. I bring to the ice, a powerful game. I like to, bang the body, take the puck to the net, get those greasy goals here and there. But, most of my game consists of, using my speed and, taking the puck to the net. Being team captain to me, means a lot. I got a great group of guys behind me and, a great coaching staff to support me. It's an honor to be a captain here in my 3rd year. So far it's been great, and we're looking for a lot of success this year. So hopefully I can carry the team to a Royal Bank.
Welcome back to the OJ. Today I'm joined now in the studio by a gentleman who's got a very difficult job ahead of him. It's pretty fair to say, the new president and GM of the Milton Ice Hawks, Chris Vanstone. Thanks for joining us here.
Thanks for having me, Alex.
And I think you're laughing because that's an understatement. It's going to be a difficult job. So, huge task. So let's just start off with, a question that's got to be asked right now. 5 wins, 47 losses on the year. Haven't won since October 24th. I'm not trying to rub it in. I'm just speaking the facts. It's been tough. You've only been in there for a couple of weeks now, but how much can you comment about regarding what has happened in Milton this year?
Well, as you said, I've only been there for 2 weeks. I've watched this play 6 or 7 times, and I really am concentrating on the 19 kids that we have carded right now. I can't really worry about who we don't have on our team or where they went or what team they went to or how the deals went down. But we have 19 kids that are working their tails off every night and competing real hard. and we have 3 or 4 call-ups in our lineup every night due to injuries and numbers. And those are the kids I'm really caring about right now and worried about them and, where they want to play next year and how they want to get to the school route or whether they want to play in the OHL. Try to help them get to the next level. But that's, we've lost 34 games in a row. It hasn't been easy on the kids. They've had 4 coaches this year. I spoke to them after the Georgetown game and I thanked them for sticking it out. They deserve a lot of respect.
Which is a game that, there have been some obviously very difficult times. I should point out that the Georgetown game, I was there for that game, leading 3-2 after 2 periods. That was on the verge of being the upset of the century right there. They played hard. Your goalie was phenomenal. And we'll talk about another couple games in a second. But so to give a bit of background, he didn't have a winning record back. I mean, you weren't a part of the team. They didn't have a winning record. They weren't a top half team, but you know what? They were a competitive team at the beginning of the season and for a few weeks, and they were competitive. And then started trading away players, traded away, just as an example, Teofilo, Samayo, Cobham, who's had a great season with Burlington. Can you comment on why some of those players were traded, why those moves were made?
Well, I don't know specifics, but I definitely can give you some ideas or possibilities of why they may have happened. Kids may wanted to play closer to home. You may have had someone who said, you know what, it doesn't look like we're going to go deep in the playoffs. I'd like to go someplace that may have a deep playoff run where scouts from higher levels can come watch me play. And then obviously you have kids that may be going to school closer to where they live, and maybe school was a bit of a priority and they wanted to make sure that they were closer to home and so they can work on their academics.
Right. Okay, so your background and what you're stepping into now, you've got a lot of experience in the OJ. You're with Oakville for their 2 championship seasons in different roles. With the Markham Waxers, unfortunately, the last season before they ended up suspending operations. Just give us a little idea about your background and what you bring to the table.
For sure. I started in Oakville with the 2007-2008 Oakville Blades as a head scout. My role really was to watch other teams that we were going to play up coming up, give them analysis of what they do, what they don't do. Also doing some recruiting, helping to build the team the next year. We had a lot of older kids that year that were leaving, and we had to kind of replace them with newer kids. So that was my first year. Second year, I got into director of hockey operations and associate general manager. I also was an assistant coach with the 2010 team that went to the RBC Cup as well. And then 2011, 2012, I think, or 11, 12, I think I was with Markham.
With Markham.
Yeah.
So, okay, you run a successful business. You have experience in the OJ before with successful teams. A question that a lot of people are asking right now is why take on this role? I mean, this is obviously a huge challenge for you. What was attractive to you about taking on this role, and what did the owner say to you to bring you in?
Well, when I first met with Rob about a month ago, and I've known Rob for 8 years. He was with Milton when I was with Oakville, and I'd known him for 8 years, I guess now. And I think Milton's at rock bottom right now. 5 wins, 34 losses in a row. He needed someone to come in with experience and give the reins to and say, hey, listen, I want to be in the background. You're making all the decisions, and I know the challenge. I know what it's like. We have to rebuild the brand. We got to get out into the community, do more community events. We have to be at schools working with younger kids. We have to rebuild our AP system with the minor hockey. And we need to get people excited about being a Milton Ice Hockey fan.
Yeah. There are, like you're saying right now, there are fences that need to be mended.
For sure.
There are connections that need to be made again. We've got about a minute and a half left. How do you go about doing that? You talked about some of the routes about getting the community back in, but what do you do to sort of to rebuild, to get that connection again, and to attract players to come and play in Milton again after what happened this season, the way things have gone anyway?
I think it's important when you're recruiting again into people's homes and you're dealing with parents and children really between the ages of 16 and 20, is that you let them know that we're trying to create a safe environment where they can develop into being better hockey players and move on to higher levels. And we want people that want to be Milton Ice Hawks. They want to play at higher levels because this is a development league. It's a great league. It's branded as the league of choice for a reason, and we want to move kids on to higher levels. So you got to be passionate enough to be a hockey player, want to play at the next level, and we'll help you get there. And at the same time, next year we're probably going to be young.
Yeah.
We're probably going to be young. You got to start from the bottom and work your way up, and we're going to be able to offer some people a lot of ice time.
Yeah. Real quick, we've got 30 seconds. What positives have you seen in your short time in there, the games you've gone and watched? 25 seconds,
Sure.
Actually, so real quick. But
Character. I mean, our character compete right now in the 6-7 games that I've seen. No one's quitting. There's a lot of character in that room, and the kids are working their tails off, I said before, and I'm real proud of them.
yeah, hopefully Milton's going to be going in the right direction for next year after a tough season. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks. Looking forward to the challenge.
More OJ today coming up in just a second. Welcome back. The Newmarket Hurricanes are a squad that has struggled to find consistency all season. That wasn't entirely unexpected, though. Brett Punchard's team is supremely talented, but as one of the youngest squads in the OJ this year, there were bound to be some ups and downs. Still, the Canes are currently in the thick of the battle for a playoff spot in the Northeast, and we find out more about the young team now in this week's Team Report, brought to you by Muscle Milk. Muscle Milk, official sponsor of the OJHL. For the Newmarket Hurricanes, it all comes down to the next few days. The Canes are currently in a four-way battle with Cobourg, Whitby, and Stouffville for the last remaining playoff spots in the Northeast. It's been an up-and-down season for the young squad, who struggled to find consistency in the first half of the season.
So there are some games that we played really well, other games that we didn't have it at all. So I would say for the most part we weren't, because we weren't being consistent. So now that the second half we're being more consistent, it's a little bit nicer. And so that's the biggest thing in the first half. We just weren't consistent. Some games we brought it, other games we didn't.
In the second half of the season, however, the Canes have been much improved and scored huge wins over league powers Trenton and Wellington in the process.
Just the boys, they really buckled down, and we've been playing the systems, listening to Brett, and even in practice we've noticed the boys are just working a lot harder and focusing on winning and really pushing for playoffs and moving up in the standings.
We're not turning as many pucks over, I think. Instead of going one-on-one, we're trying to two-on-one teams and players and getting pucks deep and just keeping the game a little bit more simple.
We're a pretty young team, but we're really fast. We got a lot of speed on our team, and we always like to chip pucks deep and just use the body. If we're physical, it really shuts down the other teams.
Newmarket has been led by numerous players brought in via trades throughout the season. Leading scorer Todd Winder, Russian line mate Mark Rosanov, Steve Mariani, and Marco Bozzo all started the season elsewhere.
Bozzo's a great player. He's a fast skater. Definitely really good like puck mover and stuff. So that's awesome. Steve Mariani, obviously guy can score goals no matter what. Big body, so he can help on the wall and stuff like that.
Rosie's just, he loves to score goals and he loves to put the puck in the net, whether it's him or his line mates. Todd is one of the nicest hockey players you will come across as far as off the ice, on the ice, right? And he's very gifted. He can score, he can pass, he can do lots of things that other kids can't do. His skill level is very, very high.
Forward Marty Lawler has been with the Canes for the last 2 seasons.
Oh, Lawler's a great guy. Obviously a great leader, probably one of the best on the team. Leads by example, leads with his through his speech and stuff like that. So he's maybe a little bit louder of a guy, but he also leads by example. He's a strong player. He's a really quick skater. He scores obviously huge goals. So he brings kind of a little bit of everything.
Chella and Lawler are very similar players. I mean, they have lots of speed. They both like to go to the net. Christian's very fast and he's very physical too. When he wants to hit someone, it's going to hurt the other player. So.
Okay, Dito, he's obviously a great guy. He great puck moving defenseman, great skater, sees the ice really well, great passer.
Head coach Brett Punchard is in his first season behind the bench for Newmarket.
He's really good. He connects with all the guys. He's fit in really well. He's a great coach. The guys really respect Brett. He's doing a great job. He's very vocal. If you ever watched one of our games, I'm sure you've heard Brett on the bench. He's always yelling at everyone, just letting them know what to do, and he's always letting you know what you're doing good and what you're doing bad. He's a very vocal coach.
Every game is big. We're on a little bit of a roll, but that doesn't mean anything. Okay, we have to go out with the same intensity that we've had the last couple of games and the last little while.
Oh, it's just a tight team. All the guys like each other. It's fun. It's like we love hanging out with each other and stuff like that. So it's awesome.
You know what the Super Bowl is?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's finals of American football.
The next few days will be fascinating to watch as the youthful Hurricanes let it all hang out in hopes of grabbing that last postseason berth.
We got a tough schedule ahead of us. So we have to play smart hockey, team hockey. You're only as good as the 5 guys that are on the ice. So if we play within units, you get good goaltending and get some timely goals, I think the coaches will be happy in a nutshell.
And just before we go, let's take a look at the top 5 plays from the OJ over the past week. Number 5, Mississauga's Brendan Yeamans with a wicked wrister past Jacob Standen in a big Chargers win last weekend. Number 4, Orangeville's Derek Patriots lowers the boom against St. Mike's with a monstrous one-timer that beats Mark Manilescu. Number 3, Oakville's Tyler Rollo turns Nick Campoli into a pretzel and waltzes in and beats Gianluca Baguetta. Big goal for Rollo and a big Oakville win. Number 2, double overtime. Stouffville's Nathan Hudgen dances past Newmarket's Mark Rosanov, goes top shelf past Aiden Doak to give the Spirit 2 huge points in their playoff chase. And number 1, Georgetown's Jack Jacome against North York with the circus shot of the year. Tips it over top of the net, then bats it out of the air for the incredible goal. Take another look at this one. Up, over, and in it goes. One of the best of the year, and it is our OJ play of the week. And that's all the time we've got for this week. Just remember, though, head to the league website at ojhl.ca for all the up-to-date news, stats, and standings. On Twitter at OJHL Official, and of course at Facebook.com/OJHL Official. Thanks for tuning in, folks. I'll see you next week.